You step outside on an ordinary afternoon. The feeder is busy. Sparrows are calling. A cardinal sings from the oak. The normal soundtrack of your yard fills the air. And then, nothing. Complete silence. Not a chirp, not a flutter, not a single sound. It happened instantly, like someone flipped a switch. No warning. No gradual fade. Just sudden, total quiet. And something in your chest tightens. You felt it before you understood it. That silence means something. You were right to feel it. Welcome back to Backyard Bird Stories. If you're new here, subscribe now because what you're about to learn will change everything about how you listen to your yard. That silence has a name. It has a cause. And once you understand what's actually happening in those moments, you'll never hear your yard go quiet again without knowing exactly what the birds are telling you. Today, we're breaking down 7 distinct reasons why every bird in your yard goes completely silent at once. What triggers each one? What it means? And what you should do when it happens. Some of these will surprise you. One of them will stop you cold. Stay until the end because the last silence is the one most people never forget. Reason 1, the predator above. This is the most common reason and the most immediate. It's not a sound. It's the absence of one. And it is one of the most sophisticated alarm systems in nature. Birds don't go silent out of confusion. They go silent out of precision. A singing bird is a located bird. When a hawk enters your airspace, when an owl drifts silently through the trees, when a prowling cat appears at the yard's edge, every bird within range understands one thing instantly: making any sound is the equivalent of raising your hand and saying, "Here I am. Come get me." So they stop. All of them. Simultaneously. The trigger spreads faster than you can track it. Research from the University of Montana found that alarm responses in mixed bird flocks propagate across an area in under 2 seconds. Faster than any single bird could process the threat on its own. What you're witnessing is a collective nervous system functioning at a level of coordination that still surprises researchers. If your yard goes silent and you look up, look carefully. The threat is almost certainly still there. Perched. Circling. Moving through cover at your property's edge. A red-tailed hawk sitting motionless on a branch is nearly invisible until it moves. But the birds see it. That's why they stopped. Watch the treetops. Watch the fence line. And watch where the birds go when they flee, because the direction of their escape will point you directly toward whatever spooked them. Reason 2, the silent hunter. Most people think of owls as strictly nocturnal, and most are. But 2 of the most common species in American backyards hunt actively during daylight. The barred owl. The short-eared owl. Both hunt in the early morning and late afternoon, the exact 2 times your feeder is busiest. When a barred owl moves through the trees at your yard's edge, it doesn't announce itself. That's the entire point. Its feathers are specifically structured with soft, comb-like edges on the primary flight feathers to produce virtually no sound in flight. From an acoustic standpoint, it's nearly invisible. But the small birds in your yard know it's there. Chickadees, titmice, nuthatches, they have extraordinarily sensitive hearing and can detect an owl's silhouette even at a significant distance. The moment one is spotted, the silence falls. Not because the birds are afraid to react, but because their reaction is the silence itself. Watch for a secondary behavior. After the initial hush, you may hear a short burst of mobbing calls. Chickadees and blue jays will begin scolding loudly once they've assessed the owl's position and decided that collective harassment is safer than hiding. That shift from silence to scolding is itself a signal. It means the predator has been located and the birds have decided to drive it out. If your yard goes silent and then erupts in agitated calls from one specific tree, go look. There's almost certainly an owl in there. Reason 3, what moves beneath? This one surprises people, but it shouldn't. Ground-feeding birds like American robins, mourning doves, dark-eyed juncos, and towhees spend significant portions of their day reading the ground beneath them. Not just visually. Through vibration. Research on American robins has confirmed that they detect earthworm movement beneath soil through vibration-sensitive receptors in their feet. But that same sensitivity that helps them find food also registers everything else moving underground or along the ground surface. A mole tunneling through soil. A vole crossing beneath the leaf layer. Even a large ground beetle produces enough surface vibration to register to a standing bird. When ground feeders detect unexpected subsurface movement, they freeze. That freeze response spreads through every other bird in the yard through body language and the sudden cessation of foraging sounds. It's a subtler silence than a hawk response. The birds don't flee. They simply stop and stand very still, head slightly raised, posture rigid for 15 to 30 seconds before resuming normal behavior. If you notice this specific pattern, brief stillness followed by birds returning to normal without any obvious aerial threat, look at the ground. Whatever moved through it is likely still there. Reason 4, the pressure warning. This one will change how you watch your yard before bad weather. Birds are extraordinarily sensitive to barometric pressure. Their hollow bone structure and highly efficient respiratory system make them living barometers. Research has documented that many bird species detect a drop in atmospheric pressure hours before a storm becomes visible or detectable to human senses. When pressure begins to drop, birds respond in one of two ways depending on the severity. A mild pressure change produces a feeding frenzy. Birds rush to consume as many calories as possible before conditions deteriorate. But a significant pressure drop, the kind that precedes a major storm system, produces something different. A sudden, eerie quiet. The birds know what's coming. They begin moving not in alarm but purposefully, relocating to sheltered positions. Dense shrubs. The interior of thick evergreens. Protected spots under eaves or in brush piles. They go quiet because they're transitioning from active behavior to conservation mode. If every bird in your yard disappears and goes completely silent on a day when the sky looks fine, check the weather. Within 6 to 12 hours, conditions will likely change significantly. Your birds are better forecasters than most apps on your phone. Reason 5, the ground threat. Snakes are among the most effective bird silencers in nature. Not because birds don't see them, but because of exactly how birds respond to them. Unlike hawks, which trigger an immediate explosive scatter response, snakes produce a different kind of alarm. The silence that follows a snake sighting is slower, more deliberate, profoundly still. Birds that spot a snake, particularly one moving through grass or along a garden border, often freeze completely for extended periods, sometimes several minutes. Tracking the snake's movement with intense focus before deciding whether to flee or sound an alarm. This freeze-and-track response has been documented across multiple species and relates to the snake's hunting strategy. A snake that detects bird movement may redirect toward it. So the birds go motionless and silent. Cornell lab researchers studying bird alarm responses note that snake-related silences are accompanied by downward gaze. Birds looking toward the ground rather than upward as they would for an aerial predator. If you notice your yard bird suddenly still and staring at the ground or a specific area of vegetation, the cause is far more likely to be a snake than anything overhead. Most backyard snakes in North America are completely harmless to humans and actually beneficial. They control rodent populations. But that doesn't mean your birds know that. Reason 6, the stranger. Not every silence is caused by a predator. Some silences are caused by a stranger. Bird communities have social structures that are invisible to us but intensely real to them. The birds that visit your yard regularly have established a hierarchy. A known order of who eats first, who defers to whom, who occupies which branch. That order is maintained through constant low-level communication, chips, contacts, positional signals. When an unfamiliar bird arrives, particularly a larger or more dominant species, that entire communication system pauses. The regulars go quiet and still as they assess the newcomer. Is it a threat? A competitor? Will it take over the feeder? Will it drive off the established birds? The silence lasts until the social calculation is complete. If the new bird is accepted or moves on, normal sounds resume. If it establishes dominance, as blue jays, European starlings, and brown-headed cowbirds often do, the silence may be followed by a reshuffling of your entire yard's social order. Watch what happens after the silence breaks. Which birds return first tells you everything about your yard's hierarchy and the newcomer's place in it. Reason 7, the frequency you can't hear. I saved this one for last because it's the one that stays with people. Human hearing is remarkable in many ways, but compared to the birds in your yard, we are functionally deaf to an entire register of the world around us. Birds can detect frequencies both above and below the human range of hearing. Some species can hear infrasound, low-frequency sound waves produced by distant storms, geological activity, large animal movement. At distances that would seem physically impossible. Research on bird navigation and communication has documented that certain species use infrasonic cues to orient themselves across thousands of miles. But that same sensitivity that guides a migratory warbler across a continent also registers events happening far beyond anything you could perceive standing in the same yard. When your yard goes completely silent and there is no visible predator, no incoming storm, no snake, no new bird, and the silence lasts longer than it should, the birds may be responding to something moving or happening at a distance you cannot see and a frequency you cannot hear. This is not speculation. It is documented sensory biology. What they heard you will never know. But they heard it. And for those few moments, every bird in your yard was tuned to a frequency of the world that we don't have access to. That silence isn't empty. It's full of something we simply don't have the equipment to receive. Have you ever been in your yard when everything went silent at once? Did you ever figure out what caused it? Tell me in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.